Hey there, everybody. PTPOP here, leading you out of the call center rabbit hole, one grain of truth at a time. And today we're going to dive into a very popular topic, BPOs. Ha! You're like, Pete, why are you talking in abbreviations and acronyms? Well, part of the business, people. These are business process outsourcing centers. And I'm going to just jump right into it today. So, have you ever wondered why when you call into a call center, you end up talking to someone that's like 8,000 miles away, and they're reading from a script that sounds like it was written by a robot? It's frustrating, I know. Well, my friends, that's because your favorite American companies don't really do customer service anymore. They really don't. While they're all running around like chickens with their heads cut off, scrambling and trying to figure out how to replace you with AI, which they're doing very quickly, they have outsourced all the customer service jobs to BPOs, or business process outsourcing centers, or as I like to call it, the art of making money and pretending to care about people. Yay! Because it's all about having fun in corporate America, isn't it? It's all about having fun in corporate America and see how much money you can make so your male CEO has a leather mistress on a tropical island with a few other things too. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. It's all about money in this country. To hell with the homeless, to hell with the needy and the hungry, to hell with the sick and your veterans. How much money can we all make off of the American people? So here's how it works, okay? So let's say you're a Comcast or an AT&T or a Bank of America. You've got millions and millions of customers calling every day. They're angry, they're confused, they're frustrated. Instead of hiring Americans, giving them benefits, paying them $20 an hour, hire a BPO to save you all kinds of money. That's just how it works. I'm not being slanderous. This is how it works. This is business in America. So these are giant companies, okay? And AT&T, all of them, they're still huge. Companies like Teleperformance, Concentrix, Alorica, they're massive call center farms in countries like the Philippines, India, and South Africa. Okay? And they do the dirty work. They do it cheap. So here's where it gets wild, okay? An American company pays a BPO $15 per hour per agent, okay? And I'm going to show you a video here from the Call Center Geek on Tim Talk. I'm sorry, I'm looking at his name. On TikTok, his name is Tom Laird. And he breaks down the real cost of running a call center or a contact center BPO. So the American company, they pay the BPO $15 per hour per agent. That agent sending it in Manila or Mumbai, they'll see maybe $3 or $4 an hour if they're lucky. The rest goes to the BPO's profit management and really fancy break room nobody uses. It also covers a variety of other things too, but they do make a large profit off of it. Pardon me while I rejuvenate my batteries. So the American company brags about cutting costs, saving 50 to 70%. Meanwhile, the call center workers overseas are overworked, underpaid, and told to sound more American. I should go to Mumbai or something. They'll probably hire me and pay me good money to be an American. So, in the meantime, all the U.S. workers are replaced, and they're sitting at home wondering where the jobs went. Don't worry, guys. They're not coming back because pretty soon they'll all be replaced by AI. So, these companies will say, well, we're boosting profits, we're improving efficiency, we're enhancing the customer experience. Yeah, nothing says enhanced like 45 minutes to talk to someone who can't fix your issue because corporate cut their authority along with their pay. But let me show you a video here. This is Call Center Geek. He's also Tom Laird is his name. And I should get him in the documentary, shouldn't I? I'm working on a documentary about call centers called Disconnected Voices from the Call Center. And he breaks down all the numbers, the financials behind a BPO.
The BPO that you work for is making $13 per hour per agent. You as an agent are only making maybe $2 or $2.50 per hour. Where does the rest of that money go? Let's look at a typical quick kind of cost breakdown, expense breakdown for a BPO. And again, these numbers aren't perfect, but I think it gives a cool hypothetical to have you guys start to understand some of the expenses that a BPO has to pay. When it comes to what it's responsible for the agent, right? The BPO in that $13 per hour, about 35 to 40% of it, or about $4.50-ish goes to the agent. Now that means agent pay. That means taxes. Agents don't see that, but it's still the responsibility of the BPO based on the agent that they have to pay.
So the American company calls up a company in South Africa or in the Philippines or in India, says, hey, this is XYZ Corporation. We're going to offer you $13 an hour per agent. And that $13 an hour covers agent pay, the taxes, benefits, marketing, incentives, net profit, and so on, as you broken down. But the BPO profits from the rest of it, and the American companies are saving huge sums of money from it. But let me have them continue.
They have to pay benefits, meaning your health care, meaning your 13-month in the Philippines, and incentives. So roughly $4.50-ish, or about 35% of the total amount of that $13 goes to something that relates to the agent. The next biggest expense is the infrastructure, right? The internet, the rent, the computers, the desks, about $1.50 out of that $13. And then we have a lot of admin costs, right? Your technology, meaning your the licensing for your CRM or your dialer or your CCaaS platform, so paying for the supervisor, paying for QA, paying for admin, paying for legal, right? Those are all expenses to the company. They're not really making money unless you're charging for QA or something like that. And then from a marketing standpoint, right, you got to have a marketing budget to keep the contracts coming in. So
see, I didn't know all of these costs were involved in it. I just assumed they just made a deal and were paying them a certain amount of money per month or per agent or per quarter. I didn't know how it worked. So he breaks this down and he goes on here.
This isn't perfect. I know some companies charge for supervisors, some don't. So again, just bear with me here. But having said all that, in our little hypothetical, the net profit, I wouldn't even really call it net profit because there's probably some other things we have to throw in there, is about 35, 36%, which means out of that $13 an hour, the company is taking as a profit like $4.80. Now, I think that's probably a little bit high, but let's say it's $4.25.
So they're taking a huge profit. They're underpaying their employees. They're helping the American company save money.
That's the margins. It's really, really high, right? Here in the States, it's 15 to 17%. That's a really good margin for a BPO. So it could be almost double here according to our hypothetical. So when we see net profit numbers like this, yes, there's definitely more room for agent pay.
Okay, so let me tell you some of the numbers here I found. So I wondered how much are these U.S. companies saving by outsourcing to a BPO? Now, U.S., and what is my source here? ChatGPT doesn't give me a source. Well, I put it into ChatGPT, and by outsourcing U.S. in-house call centers before it's outsourced, this is what it would cost an American company if they didn't outsource. U.S. in-house call center cost is $35 to $50 per hour per employee. That's wages, benefits, HR, infrastructure, just like this guy described for the BPO. When you offshore it to a BPO, the cost is $12 to $25 per hour. So they're saving huge profits, at least at maybe at the most 60% savings. It's a savings of 40 to 70% per agent per hour. It's huge. So if a company runs 500 seat call center for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, save tens of millions of dollars per year by outsourcing overseas. You see, the problem is the customer. Problem is some guy somewhere, predominantly a man. I say guy because it's usually men that start these gargantuan companies. They come up with an idea. and they say, I'm going to make this water bottle, and if it takes off, we're going to need customer support. So they make the water bottle, they market it, it takes off. Everybody's got one of these now in their car, and now they have 100 million customers, but they spring a leak and they don't hold the water. So they got customers calling in by the droves, and these guys, they're million and billion and trillionaires now, but they're like, oh my God, what do we deal with these goddamn customers? They're buying my product, but they're a pain in my ass, and they're costing me millions of dollars for the call center. They want you to buy your product. They want you to finance their exotic tropical islands with all kinds of sexual escapades offshore. But they don't want to be burdened by your complaints and your questions about your bill or about your leaky coffee cup. They don't want any of that. So to save them even more money, they offshore it. And U.S. jobs have vanished. Thousands of call center workers lose decent paying jobs. Quality suffers. Agents are underpaid, overworked, and coached to fake empathy. I mean, when you call these poor people in India, and anytime you call for a hotel reservation now, anytime you call anyone, whether it's, I'm not going to name companies because I've recently traveled a little bit, but you always get somebody that's like Indian, and they're nowhere near the facility. Like, I just traveled to Sandusky, Ohio, and they had a room up there, and they got a person on the phone that wasn't in Sandusky, Ohio. They were in Mumbai or something. I'm like, are you at the location? They're like, no, I'm not at the location. I'm in Mumbai or something. I don't know if they probably don't say. And I'm just mocking them because you know what they sound like. They're fine people. They're good people. They're overworked and they're stressed out just like the rest of us. So they're like, oh, do you want me to transfer you to the location? I'm like, yeah, please. Because I had a question that they couldn't answer about Sandusky, about the Switches walk I went to. And it's so frustrating because these poor people in India don't know Sandusky, Ohio from their backside. And the customers feel it. You get long holds, you get poor problem resolution, and heavily scripted conversations. These poor people are told, their name is not Bill or Bob or Cheryl or Mandy. And they've got to lie. They lie about their names. They try to sound American. They got to put up with all of us snot-nosed Americans that think we're all that in a bag of chips. So it's really unfortunate. And I know I've talked to a lot of you. It's unfortunate that they're outsourcing and trying to take American jobs away from us. It's funny because in America, it's all about this big business and corporations. It's become a very fascist country where the corporations run everything. But to hell with the customers, to hell with all of us that need jobs, to hell with all of us that are buying your crappy products that we don't need. I mean, who needs your crappy leaky water cup? But there's millions of people that bought it. Now you're like burdened by having to service all the crazy calls because you created a defective product that people love for some reason. And, these poor people in India and Mumbai and South Africa and everywhere else are being taken advantage of by the great American corporations. So let me know what you think. I mean, I know a lot of you work over in England that watch me, the United Kingdom. I don't know if anybody watches from India. And I don't even know if you can tell me. I don't know what the freedoms are in your countries, but tell me what it's like working for these BPOs. Because we sit here in America and we make fun of you guys and we mock you just like I did. I do it in good fun, but there's people out there that just absolutely don't want to talk to an Indian call center. So let me know what your experience has been working in a BPO if you've been there. Is it as bad as the American call centers? Are you monitored as severely? Are you allowed to go to the bathroom? Do you get 2 15s in a half hour? 2 15 breaks or 2 10 breaks in a half hour? What are the hours like? Do they really have suicide nets outside the buildings? Because I've heard some of these BPOs have suicide nets. So if people get so stressed out, they run up to the roof of the building and jump off. And I don't know if that's true. I've seen them on the internet. Well, I'll do another video on that. So let me know what you think, what your experience is. Leave me a comment, give me the thumbs up. And I hope you all have a good rest of the week. Have a good day. Hasta la vista, baby.
My heart is torn and tattered, my ego bruised. Then I think I understand you now. Yes, I understand you now.
Lead you with a guitar solo by yours truly. See you later, everybody.
Would you like fries with that? Would you like fries with that?